Sorry, guys.
Five.
Norman, you know already. We're going to get to Larry's background in a minute. How about if we do what we did last week for Rohit, just a quick go round, so Larry knows who you are. And just name where you're from, maybe undergrad. What else would be useful?
What you're trying to become.
My name is David. I'm from Boston. I went to undergrad at UMass Amherst, where I built my own major that was focused around creative writing, but also incorporated business, entertainment, and various other things from comparative literature and communication, things like that. I aspired to be something around what Jerry Bruckheimer is. That's like he's swinging for the fence. So
Cool.
Hi, I'm Bree Castellini. I'm from Colorado, but I went to college in Oregon. Pacific University, creative writing major.
What's it called?
Pacific University. It's one of the most college ever.
There's worse.
Yeah, I majored in creative writing with minors in editing and publishing and integrated media. And I want to do everything. I want to create shows. I want to produce shows. I want to maybe act. I want to maybe do it on the internet. I want to maybe do it on TV.
Awesome.
I just want to create.
Excellent.
Hey, I'm Jamie Patakis. I went to Elon University and I was a business undergrad.
Where are you from?
New Jersey.
Oh, same here. Oh, I live there now. I'm not from there.
Okay.
Where did you grow up?
Manasquan.
Okay, down the shore. Okay.
And I want to write for television, produce.
Cool.
That's
I
what-
live in Somerset County.
Okay, thanks. Yeah.
I'm Connor Bowen. I went to University of Maryland, from Seattle originally, and I like writing and video editing.
Cool.
Hi, I'm Samantha Thomas. I'm from Richmond, Virginia. I did my undergrad at Sarah Lawrence, and my concentrations were film history and screenwriting because there are no majors at Sarah Lawrence.
Really?
And my goal ultimately would be to be a screenplay writer for films.
Awesome.
Hi, I'm Jim. I'm from New York. Jim from New York. I did my undergrad at LAU Post on Long Island. I was English writing, major, film minor. Yeah, and I'm interested in writing now.
Cool.
I'm Jordan from New Jersey.
Where?
Tina.
Okay.
Went to undergrad at University of Maryland and want to be a writer or an editor.
Excellent.
Hey, Jordan, excuse me. So you are in one of the other cohorts?
I graduated.
Cool.
Jesus.
So you were, what, cohort 3?
Yeah.
Is that right?
That's
All right.
the one.
You were pioneers still.
Hey, I'm Valerie. I'm from Montreal in Canada. I did my undergrad there at Concordia University in print and broadcast journalism. And I came here. And ideally, I want to be a television writer and showrunner.
Cool.
Val, thank you for all the Montreal tips.
Oh, no problem.
Very helpful.
Hi, I'm Rebecca. From
Rebecca and I go way back. Looking for coffee cups together.
I'm from Maryland, and I graduated from the University of Maryland with a degree in Russian history and a minor in philosophy. And honestly, I'm still seeing where I fit in the industry. I've been doing a school here. I've also worked on sets and stuff, so I'm just trying to see where I fit. So
Cool.
Hi, I'm Steph from Maryland.
Oh, yeah, there's definitely Maryland theme here.
Yeah. I went to Towson.
Mhm.
And I want to be like an accountant.
Cool.
Hi, I'm Andrew. I'm from Dallas, Texas. I did my undergrad at Texas State University, and I studied theater performance production, and then I went to be a
I take it black. Okay. Yeah.
TV/theater writer, director, performer.
Awesome.
My name is Benson. I'm from Miami, Florida. Graduated from St. Thomas University with a degree in English, specializing in professional writing, and a minor in business administration. And I hope to write for film one day. That's what brought me to this class, this course, because I'm not in this program.
Okay.
Vince is the one guy who doesn't actually have to be here today. So we're flattered every week that he shows up. That's true. That's true.
Yeah, and my brother-in-law's name is Benson, and I very seldom hear the name. So I don't. Now I know two Bensons.
There you go.
But yeah.
Good. Well, Larry, thank you for joining us today. We had already been talking about a bunch of things related to things in the news or trades that relate to TV business. As I think I told you, I don't know that I explained it in class, there are a lot of reasons that I wanted them to benefit from your experience and point of view and wisdom. Not the least of which is the fact that you've done some work in television, but predominantly not. And we'll come to that in a minute. So how did you get started in the world of radio research in the first place?
Yeah, I stumbled into the world of radio research. So I was always very interested in media, and I don't know how far back Mitch has gone with his personal history, but Mitch and I worked in a previous century on a radio sort of college thing together back. By the way, Mitch was my summer camp counselor. I don't know if he's mentioned that.
I haven't led on that part.
Okay.
We grew up together.
Yes. So somehow, and it's funny because, so he was 16, I was 13, but he was the counselor, and he still, to this day, you know, he was this sort of authority figure, still like 40
I can still make
later.
him go get firewood.
Yeah,
put it
it's
that
like
way.
really weird. It's like still, it's like we've become really dear long friends, but he's still sort of like that guy that I, you know, have to listen to, and still the authority figure. So then I got an MBA and was able to figure a lot of things I didn't want to do after that. And but I was very interested in marketing research, and found a job in research for a little company in Philadelphia that all it did was research for radio stations. I didn't know such a thing existed. I didn't know that radio did tons of research until that point. But even back then, a lot more, but even still today, radio stations do lots of research about what kind of music should they play, and then literally what songs should they play. And it's actually a really lucrative little niche, and I liked it. I worked there for 5 or 6 years, and then it was time for me to start my own business. And so in 1994, I went out on my own with a guy who I had met at that company, whose background was working at CBS News Election and Survey Unit. And so my background was in media research. His background was he had worked on the exit polls for CBS News. And we started a company to do media research and exit polling. And here we are, it was June of '94. In fact, it was the same day OJ killed his wife, allegedly, that we started our company, and in June of 1994. So here we are, nearly 22 years later, still in business, still doing well, and we're a company that does all kinds of media research with a very heavy focus on all things audio, not just radio, but we work extensively in streaming audio, podcasting. We're working all over the world in anything to do with audio. And with exit polls, and should I launch into that real quick?
Please.
So really quickly on exit polls, I'm happy to talk about it all day long if you like. When you watch TV on election night, if you watch on any primary, or if you watch tomorrow with Wisconsin, you'll hear whatever channel you're watching refer to their exit polls. According to the CNN exit poll, here's the findings. According to the Fox exit polls or the NBC exit polls, et cetera. In point of fact, there's just one exit poll. The networks pool their money together and hire one company to do the exit polls. And we've had this contract since 2003. And so it's a huge logistical, crazy project. That we'll do all the primaries until both sides are decided. And then in November, we will do our big Super Bowl. So the exit polls are done on election day as people leaving polling places. We hand them a clipboard with a questionnaire and ask them who they voted for and other questions. In November, we will do 52 simultaneous exit polls. We will do 50 state exit polls. We'll do a DC exit poll. And we'll do a separate national exit poll overlaid on top separately from all the state exit polls. We're a small company in central New Jersey of about 30 full-time people, but on that day, we'll have over 4,000 people working for us. We will collect over 110,000 interviews in one day, and we will announce to the world who just got elected. Hopefully we'll be able to tell the world who got elected the next president of the United States. And without doubt the most viewed research project in the world. I travel all over the world, and if I mention this, and people will say, oh, I stay up late at night to watch the US election returns, or I get up early in the morning to watch the US election returns. This is viewed all over the world, of course, heavily here as well. And that's, you know, by far what we've become the best known for is the company that does the exit polls. But we also do, so we have basically two major focuses: exit polling and things we've sort of spun out of that, and things to do with audio. And audio, audio is often the somewhat quiet, if not invisible, world of media and entertainment, and you know, vastly more visible are the kinds of things you guys talked about as we went around the room: video, television, movies, etc. But audio is a rapidly growing, burgeoning area with lots of need for creative people like you guys as well. So I'm happy to touch and talk about.
Larry, before we leave it, I did want to ask you on the political side. Is there a reason, as a matter of business, that you guys don't do the other kinds of political polling, all the stuff that we read prior to primaries or elections?
Well, there's no reason we can't do pre-election polls. Pre-election polling is mostly done as publicity these days, and not so much as a profit center. So, for instance, media companies will do them at cost and not to make money with. And they're done largely. So what's happened oddly in the world of pre-election polling is it's been left to a lot of colleges now do it as purely for publicity. There's a small college in Connecticut, some of you might know, called Quinnipiac, and they caught on to this idea first and started polling, doing the Quinnipiac poll. They had a professor who came up with this idea, and he used college kids to make the phone calls, and he paid them, but you don't have to pay them that much, and they found it interesting, and don't have to give them benefits and things like that. But it put Quinnipiac on the map. It became the marketing effort of Quinnipiac, and I will tell you honestly, I had never heard of Quinnipiac College until they started doing the Quinnipiac polls. A number of colleges have followed this: Monmouth in New Jersey, Marist in New York, and many others are now sort of emulating this idea. So it's largely done for publicity, pre-election polls, or by media companies who want pre-election polls for some reason. So we largely do not do them, mostly because no one pays us. There's no money for profit in doing pre-election polls. We cannot do, however, partisan polls. So if a campaign wants to hire us, because we do the exit polls, we have to be, as part of our contract, but we have to be seen as completely nonpartisan. And one thing I have learned over the years is that if you just stick your little toe into the world of politics, you'll find that your little toe has gone into like a boiling vat of acid, not water. That there's so much heat in the political system, and there's so much belief in conspiracy, and that we are these neutral people just trying to provide information to the networks and to the world about why people voted for who they voted for, or to project who won and then why they won, and people will try to entangle us into their political conspiracy theories with great regularity. When elections are close, people assume that it was stolen, and I understand that. I worked my ass off to help this candidate beat that candidate, and he or she lost by a fraction of 1% of the vote. I know they stole it. So they turn to us and say, "Can you prove they stole it?" And our answer, sadly, is typically, "I can't prove. I don't know whether or not they stole it. Sadly, we do not have the information to prove that it was stolen." Our best example of that would be Ohio in 2004. Our projection was Kerry 50.4, Bush 49.6. In fact, it was something like Bush 50.3, Kerry 47.7, or something like that. To us, we were like, "Boy, we nailed it! What a great estimate! We had it within a fraction of a point." But the world sees, you said Kerry was going to win, and we didn't say that, of course. And we said it was basically a really close race with a tie. If anyone understands anything about statistics, but so the Kerry people became obsessed that we could prove that not Kerry. It wasn't the Kerry people. It was just obsessed people who were rooting for Kerry. We never heard from the Kerry campaign. People who wanted to prove that Kerry had been ripped off and Ohio had been stolen. And so, you know, they bombard, to this day, they bombard us. I don't know what they're hoping to accomplish by overturning the 2004 election at this point. You know, it's where we get, politics is a difficult world, and there's incredible passion and heat. And even when we're trying to be these just sort of academic style, you know, we're just providing numbers to help you guys. You find that the heat will just blow you down at times.
So to bring it back to the happier, far less contentious world of media and entertainment,
right?
For this week's readings assignments, I've given the students.
You know what? I'm going to cut you off there real quick. The exit polls are part of media and entertainment, though. I mean, at least media and increasingly entertainment in terms of. You know, the ratings that the networks are getting on election nights, just for primary elections, are unbelievable. Right. I mean, unprecedented ratings for the debates. And here's a prediction: this fall, if there is, and it's looking a little less likely now, but it still could happen. If there is a one-on-one debate between Hillary Clinton and Donald Trump, it will have 100 million viewers. It will get Super Bowl, if not even beyond Super Bowl ratings. It'll be the biggest media event.
For the entertainment value as much as the political value.
What the hell might happen, right? I mean, it was like, you know, the primary, I mean, it used to be if they got 2 or 3 million viewers, they were ecstatic. You know, now they're getting 12 and 15 and 20 million viewers. I mean, it's unbelievable what's going on out there. The level of interest in this campaign is turning into a huge, and I'm sorry,
no, you're right. You're absolutely right. In many ways, it has become a show unto itself.
Yes,
right?
A reality TV show of the most entertaining, insane proportions.
Do you think that's specific to like this sort of very crazy election cycle, or do you think that's like part of like a larger trend towards people being more invested in the minutia of sort of party politics?
I don't think it's the latter. I think I'm stealing this line from Nate Silver. We were talking this before, that like every history of presidential politics that's ever written from this year forward is going to go, you know, until 2016, we thought the rules worked like this, and then everything changed. I really believe this, that it is not an accident that the two people who were by far the most famous going into this campaign are, as of today, the two leaders. I think Hillary was able to sort of clear the field through her fame and power. And so there wasn't really that many people who could run against her who had any sort of particular standing. And that's a whole issue with the Democrats as well. But she was able to just clear the field out. And I don't think it's a coincidence that Trump was by miles the most famous person to run on the Republican side. And he took the lead and has maintained it at least through today. I do think fame has become a key variable that I don't think was really appreciated until this point. I'm skeptical. I'll get to your question. I'm skeptical that, maybe I'm wrong though, that people are more into politics, or maybe you're right. There's certainly something going on with young people. You know, the Bernie thing, the data we're getting on the Democratic side is unbelievable. We've never seen anything like this before. The young people, he's winning 75 to 25. The old people, she's winning 75 to 25. The problem for him is a lot more older people vote than younger people vote. So she's winning on the margin. We've seen variables that will cut, like, you know, evangelical Christians versus age like this has never been seen before, ever in history. And so are there young people really enthusiastic about Bernie that has created a real, you know, groundswell? Yeah, there's something, so maybe you're right.
What were the comparables in 08 for Obama versus Hillary in terms of the age break? Do you remember?
I don't remember off the top of my head. There was nothing like that. It wasn't like he was winning 75. And this one's quite different. I mean, she's winning blacks this time, whereas he won overwhelmingly, and she's winning equally overwhelmingly in most cases among blacks this time. So everything's sort of upside down. You know, he's winning among whites. You know, and I'd have to remember if she won among whites. She might have. So we've exit polled 20 states to date, and he's winning white like 50 to 48 or something like that, just by a narrow margin. Whereas non-white, she's winning like 70-30.
Yeah, wait till Hulk Hogan runs.
Yes, you had a question.
Not to get political or anything, but as a young Hillary Clinton supporter.
Yes.
Surprising.
You're rare, young.
Very rare, because I get bombarded on Facebook all the time
Right.
with Bernie support, and I'm just like, maybe Bernie is the Democrats' version of Trump, so to speak. Why is it that millennials and young people are going towards Bernie? Is it because of the idea that you work for free, or is it the idea that it's justice and all that stuff? And why is it that people? I don't
we're
get
just
why
gonna take
I'm
over the
getting-
discussion. I get it. So just sticking to data, and so we don't have all the answers through the data as to the why so much. We're reporting, whoa, young people 75-25 going for Bernie. So that's what you're seeing in Facebook, reflected in Facebook. And by the way, young Blacks are going for Bernie, young Hispanics are going for Bernie. So it's not just a young white thing either.
Oh yeah.
It would make sense if Bernie were young, right? You'd go, oh, it's an age thing. But of course, Bernie's
But
even
is it
older.
also a sexist thing? Because I was bombarded with a privilege thing about how her status is privileged, but I always feel like because he's a male, he automatically gets privilege.
You could also argue
I'm
that
from a generation before I went through 4 years at Princeton between 1980 and 1984, and the word privilege never came up once. This is a modern construct that I have 23 and 17-year-old children, so I hear about it because it's now like a dominant theme, I think, on college campuses. We've never exit polled on privilege or the word privilege or what is privilege or who is privileged or whatever, so I don't have any data.
Do your
on
questions in
privilege.
the exit polls ask more? I mean, I know you're asking about one's vote. You ask about when one decided to vote, right?
It's a lot of demographics,
Right.
and then we do ask these questions. This is as close as we can get to answer your question about characteristics. Which of these four? So the networks, by the way, choose the questions. We have editorial input, but not control. The questions would be so much more interesting if I had editorial control. I always think about how I learned that lesson. The first, and I'll get back to Hillary and Bernie in a second, but the very first election after we got the contract that we covered was the 03 recall election. Were you still in California? Gray Davis? No, you were out here.
Yeah.
03 recall election. Gray Davis in California was recalled. You guys were young, so you might not remember this. And a guy named Arnold Schwarzenegger it was all in the same election, was installed so that you voted yes or no. And if you voted no, you said, who do you want instead? And like 37 people were on the ballot. And the most famous guy won, by the way, back to my theme. And Arnold Schwarzenegger became governor of California. So we knew this was happening, and I begged the networks. So I learned to stop even trying to get them to be creative. To ask the question, you'll love this. I begged them to ask the question, are you a fan of Arnold Schwarzenegger's movies? Or Arnold Schwarzenegger as an actor, or however they wanted to word it. Because I thought that would be by far, by the way, I didn't know would fans of his movies like him as a politician, or would they not vote for him because they knew him as an actor? I didn't know it. That's like the definition of a good question, is when you don't know the answer. And we can't ask that, why? So I was like, so they ask a lot of boring questions. I'll get to you in a second. But we do say, what drove your vote? And I'm not going to be able to do this off the top of my head fully, but on the Democratic side, we ask about 4 qualities. Which of these 4 qualities was most important in your choice? And so if experience is what you chose, it's like 80-20, they choose Hillary if you say experience. If you say can bring real change, Bernie wins like 75-20. Are you looking at it on your laptop?
No, I just know it's like mostly, it's like experience, trustworthy, and honesty.
Right. Honest and trustworthy, it's like 85-15 Bernie. And which is a huge issue with her, and maybe part of this whole millennials thing. And then I'll remember later what the 4th one is. But the 4th one she killed. Oh, it's can win in November. She crushes him on that one. So she wins 2 overwhelmingly, can win in November in experience, which I think are what I think is the case is that Bernie people in general, I'm not throwing there's more passion driving what's going on. And Hillary people, there's more tactical and sort of just, this is the most rational, logical choice. But Bernie is creating more heat for most people. I don't know if you want to talk politics all the time. But
Well, I'm just curious whether you ask people where they get their information from.
I would kill to ask that. I would love to ask, and we will ask some of that in the fall. So in the fall, we do different versions of the question. It's all related to budgets, but in the fall, we'll field 4 different versions of this national one I was talking about. So we get dozens more questions available, and there will be questions about media usage. So we'll have data in the fall, but we don't have data from the primaries. But I think that's such a great question.
That's just like the biggest determining factor here. I think people who get their information online are more likely to be more well-rounded in their information.
Not necessarily. I'm not trying to agree.
Or,
There's
I
a
mean,
lot
I
of
think-
lies out there and a lot of
I think you
one-sided
can
stuff
do-
out
If
there.
you're just watching
I
TV,
think what you get through your Facebook feed can tend to be very narrow at
well,
times.
that's just Facebook, I guess.
Yeah.
But and it depends, who you're
Who your friends with,
interacting with. But I think the difference between people who get their news completely from TV and are just obsessed with these Donald Trump shows are much more likely to vote for someone who's, I guess, integrated into the showmanship of the network, as opposed to people who are getting all their information online, where they're actively looking for information as opposed to just receiving what's given to them.
Well, I'm going to say something I admire about Donald Trump, and I might, you guys might, if you brought tomatoes, you might throw them at me, but the genius with which this man has manipulated the TV, at least part of the process, and really the whole process, I admire, and I don't, I'm not his fan at all, so don't, hold your tomatoes, but he has hacked this system so perfectly. He every time the focus goes off of him, he has smartly found a way to bring it back to him. You guys are younger, but we have been taught the certain rules of how you're supposed to act as a politician, and what everyone missed, but he saw, and he deserves credit for this, is that people had all caught on to what bullshit this was, these sort of rules of engagement of politics, and the desire for someone to just blow all that stuff up. The ultra careful wordings, and this is a vulnerability of Secretary Clinton. She has pollsters who kind of help craft her message, and she's very careful, and she grew up in a political world where that care got you elected. And what's happened is, so one of my closest friends runs campaigns for Democrats, and he told me years ago, we figured out how to get to exactly 50.1%. And the smart Republican guys, they figured out how to get to exactly 50.1%. So the whole fight is like right there in the middle, because it used to be you'd have all these crazy people running and stuff, and they just figured out exactly what to say. And I sat in meetings with him where he told someone how they feel about guns and how they feel about this issue, how they feel about it. And it was the most distressing thing ever to hear the campaign people telling the politician, in this case it was man, how he felt about things. But the public has caught on to that. And the public figured it out, that this is all just poll tested, scripted, whatever, designed to get elected. And this guy walked in and just blew the whole thing up. And when he says things that are outlandish, who comes from the world of, you can't say that, he's going to be disqualified immediately. There's a public out there going, it's about time someone says stuff that's unscripted and off the cuff and not poll tested and things like that. And so here on the one side you have Hillary, the ultimate careful politician, and this guy, the ultimate wild card. Why would 100 million people? There's a script right there for you guys, right?
So no, actually, Larry, I am going to draw the politics back to entertainment, because I'm realizing, in that sense, Trump is not only the reality star he is, but he's in I'll call it the newer tradition of bad guy is good guy, right? That it used to be Walter White and Tony Soprano were the bad guys of the drama, right? Now they're, if not the good guys, they're the center of it. They're the star, right? And if I'm hearing you right, it may be that Trump has figured out the hack to make that work, at least this far. It probably will keep him from getting elected.
You think he
so?
figured it out, or that this is who he is? And I think it's just dumb luck. I can't believe that this guy.
I don't accept that. I don't think he's stupid. I do not think he's stupid, and I understand people who say,
I'm not saying he's
if
stupid.
he believes these things, he must be stupid.
No, I'm not
I don't
saying
think
he's
he's
stupid. That's who he is.
Yeah.
I don't think he went to Wharton. Come on, but really, I mean, I can't believe it because he's so unscripted. He's so off the cuff. He's such a narcissist that this is what it just happened to work. I don't think that.
Well,
I'm not asking is there a master
There
plan?
are two huge currents in politics right now, and they cannot be denied. One is this feeling of why not go outside the system because it's not like the politicians are doing such a good job as it is.
No.
Why not take a chance on someone who didn't grow up through the system? And the sort of cousin to that, so the outsider thing and the anger, I'll get your question, and then the anger with Washington thing. You know, this desire, I mean, Hillary is basically telegraphed. And I don't think any of you can doubt, no matter what you think about her, how much you admire her or how much you dislike her, that if she's elected president of the United States, the odds are 99% at least one house of Congress will be Republican. The odds of her all of a sudden magic happening and passing laws and people holding hands and singing Kumbaya are like, it will be worse than we've had for the last 10 years.
But she's white, and that's the. I mean, I think Obama got hammered because I
believe that they hate her more than they hate him, and it'll be worse under her than it's been under him. And she's already said, when she was asked the question, she gave a terrible answer. She was asked the question, "Who are your enemies?" And she said, "Well, the Republicans, of course." I mean, she signaled right from the beginning, like, I hate them, they hate me, and unless you can give me what Obama had for 6 months until Scott Brown got elected, 60 senators and a majority in the House, nothing is ever going to pass. So yes, I'm sorry.
What do you think of the conspiracy that Trump is running to get Hillary into office?
It seems plausible just because everything to date is so psychotic. And I think, like with most conspiracy theories, it's probably not true, but it always makes for a great story. And you look at the fact that he donated to her, that, the pictures of her and Bill at Donald and Melania's wedding and things like that, and you go, he was a lifelong Democrat who somehow decided and all that kind of stuff. There is like any good conspiracy theory, there is that plausibility. It'd make a great screenplay for one of you guys to write and imagine what really happened there or something like that, especially if she does get elected. You'd get some traction off with Republicans on that one, just like Ohio in 04. You had something?
I was just gonna say that I'm sure there is plenty of great TV being built right now about all of this. Like, I guarantee you there's gonna be a character has weird, eerily similar qualities to Donald Trump that, people like House of Cards.
But he is a character.
Everyone's really into.
He's a great character.
TV,
I mean,
exactly.
and you have to admire his mastery of the television arts. And I'm not, I'm not endorsing him by any means by saying that. Someone sent me the link he was giving a talk, I believe in South Carolina. So it's a while ago now. And I'll just use the off-color word. So someone in the crowd, it did not seem like a plant. It seemed legit. He was saying, he was picking on Ted Cruz. And a woman in the front row said, "Yeah, he's a pussy." I don't know if you saw this video. And you should watch this. I mean, he handles this like, I'm going to use names from your grandparents' era, but like a combination of like Shecky Green and Don Rickles. He handles it with the most masterful comedic timing. And you should watch the video. And he goes, "What did you say? Oh, come on, you didn't say that word. You should never use that word. That's a terrible word. No one should use that word." What? You want to know what the word was? You guys in the back didn't do the word? Oh, no, I can't say the word. That's a terrible word. Okay, I'll tell you. She said he's a pussy. And the room goes insane. The timing, the almost perfection. I mean, there's no way this was scripted, or else he's the greatest actor who ever lived. It happened, and he handled it with perfect comedic handling of it, and I admired that. Again, I don't admire him. I admire his mastery of the television arts and doing that. And that went really viral because it's really funny and bizarre.
Yeah, but you said there's a script in this. I think Trump has ruined that because
it's too weird.
They're at a point now where you can't make this shit up. He already made it up.
Yeah.
Where are you going from there?
Yeah, I agree. Early on, it would have been plausible and probably was happening in many shows' rooms to pitch a Trump-like character. I'm with you. I think about the people running shows now,